Hi, France.
Hi,
What do you do, France?
I'm a sex therapist and relationship coach. I was born in Paris, France, and I've been in Australia for about 30 years now.
Wonderful. So you practice, and whereabouts do you practice?
I practice on the Central Coast, which is about 80 kilometers of Sydney, and as well in Sydney.
Lovely. Now, what we're going to talk about today is sexual rejection.
Yes.
What happens when their partner says no?
So we'll probably talk about more like male sexual rejection, as it's often seems to be happening more this side. And so it's very difficult for the woman to understand when she says no, that the man's self-esteem just goes down because, he feels rejected by the woman. So there's a lot of problem with confidence and self-esteem when it comes to rejection. And a lot of women do not understand this sector. They just say no for their own reason, but they often don't understand that the men's self-esteem just go down and, feel rejected.
So what can men do about that?
Well, if they are rejected, it's understanding why, because in the woman there's all sorts of reasons. There might be because pregnancy, there might be because menopause, and when we talk about menopause, it's also because there's not enough lubrication as the woman's hormones sort of change. Yeah. And in another way for anyone, it's a different approach. Just find a different approach, maybe seduction during the day, which you start during the day, to be ready to set the mood for the evening.
Is that right?
Yes, like
how can they do that?
Yeah, so send, by example, a little SMS during the day. It just just get the woman a bit interested as well.
So they could send a little text message that says, "Hi, darling, how are you?"
Exactly. Yeah,
and kisses and hugs, and what else could they do?
Yeah, well, there's something which I often recommend. For example, partner and married or not, you go in a party and everyone goes their own way, and it's like flirt with each other. Just eye contact with each other, just a little touch on the hand, little touch on the knees, and just acknowledge each other. Because the woman, I'm being a woman myself, we just love to feel special. We get charmed very easily.
Yes.
So it's all about seduction. At the beginning, when you meet, we just put the old seduction, and it's to go back to the seduction.
Nice.
So it's really setting up the mood for the sexual encounter later on, or during the day, or whenever.
So it's almost like there has to be a bit of communication so the male knows what the female likes or how to be seduced, whether it's a touch or a gift or some SMSs or something that makes them feel special and warm. And that's part of the seduction process. Is that right?
Yeah, it's not so much about what the woman likes. It's just the men, it's often, inside themselves, hopefully, because they've done it often at the beginning. They've been seducing the woman. So just thinking, how they've been seducing their woman at the beginning, and it can be vice versa, and do it again, just from the beginning. So just thinking that's the first time I meet her, and, so it is setting the mood.
Yes. Now, what about sexual fantasies?
Yeah, so sexual fantasy, it's a difficult one to talk about often, especially for women, I guess. But a sexual fantasy gives you sexual thought, and when women are not so much sexual, they do need this sexual thought. So it's a bit of bring a spark in a sexual life, and there's many ways to do that. One of them is, by example, dressing up. Let's say, being a woman, I probably would love to see my man with a G-string. A bow tie and a G-string.
Wow.
And vice versa. Being a man, you might like to see your woman as a French maid,
yes.
All in black, and whatever fantasy there is to dress up. There's also bringing like maybe a little bit of a blindfolded. If you put someone into blindfolded, whatever, it's the senses are coming out because you can't see what's going on.
Yes.
So other senses come, the smell, the touch.
Yes.
So it's all this little play to put inside the fantasy. There's also a one which I talk about with my client. It's bringing, because a lot of men think about threesome and it seems to be difficult for the woman, it's bringing a fantasy person within the intercourse, by example.
Yes.
So you just say, like, he or she, can be a he or it can be a she, depending what the conversation might be before. And it's, you don't give name, you just describe, So let's say if it's another woman, you describe, so she's now there with us and she's blonde and she's doing this and she's doing that. So you don't put any name, and it's not your neighbor or whatever, it's not a friend.
Yes.
So you bring this fantasy that a lot of men think to want as a threesome, because it's there's nobody's frightened of anything.
No, but I suppose it's a way of communicating something rather than telling.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So what other games can you suggest? For example, for a male, and if he's particularly is in need of more sexual release, what sort of things can the woman or the man do to release this tension so she doesn't feel under pressure?
Okay, well, so one thing is to understand is, the men are often, have higher sexual need due to the physiological testosterone. And the good thing, if people remember that movie, Something About Mary, it's about taking care of your own sexual need, which comes back to masturbation, taking care of your sexual need. Because once you've been taking care of your sexual need, what's there is the pleasure.
Yes. Absolutely.
So you can, relax your mind and then think about the woman, because the woman body, one thing it's very important to understand, the woman body needs about 20 minutes at least to be aroused. So there's a lot of touch.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow.
A lot of touch, a lot of kisses, a lot of, it's also, a lot of maybe sexual talk. Some people like to talk dirty, men do, women sometimes might not like to talk dirty.
Yeah.
But it's all this to come into the relationship. And women's sexual thoughts are a bit difficult to come into account. So for them, it's to look at maybe erotic movie, such as The Secretary, for example. Yeah. As men tend to be more into pornography, but it's not so much for the women.
Yep. Okay. And I wonder, so you're talking about setting the scene as though it's candles and romance, and we tend to use the word romance a lot, but it is setting the scene, and it's, it's just the intimacy of the romantic journey.
Yeah, this is just setting the mood. That's what it is. If you're cooking together, have a bit of dressing up, and then have a nice little dinner, maybe cooking together, and doing the cooking together, and have a little touch and sort of starting arousing before, and candle, beautiful music. This is what some men do like it as well. And it doesn't matter who start, because it doesn't have to be always the man taking the woman taking the initiative. The men can take the initiative of setting the mood, and the woman can take it as well. It doesn't matter who it is, as long as the mood is there, and then often the mood is needed.
Nice. And if people need more advice?
Well, they can come to see me and look on my website at www.sexualhealing.net.au, or just send me an email at france@sexualhealing.net.au.
Thank you.
You're welcome.